What's up, athletes? AJ here with the Uphill Goat. Today I wanted to talk to you about a different way of testing. So most of you know that every month, every 4 weeks, you have a rest week and then either a functional threshold heart rate test and power test or an aerobic threshold test. And these are super important. They're effective for tracking your progress and for setting up your training zones. And this video isn't really about those actually, though. It's about a different way of testing that I haven't ever given to you, but after some thought, I think I'm going to for a couple of reasons. And that's what this video is about. So this way of testing is really just a time trial that you set up on whatever trails you want. And I want it to be on trails, and I want it to mimic something similar to what you'll be racing. And I want there to be both climbing and descending. So for example, for those of you who are familiar with Corner Canyon, when I did this, my time trial was up Hawks Hollow to Porcupine, up Jacobs, down Jacobs, back up the Jacobs Road, and then up Peak View, down, is it Peak View or Porcupine? I don't know, Peak View, down Peak View to the top of Octoon Baby, and that was where it finished. So it finished at the top of Octoon Baby, started at the bottom of Hawks. And I would do this frequently. I would do this every 2 weeks when I was in high school. And it was really, really great for a couple of reasons. It gave me really steady progress, not just in my power and fitness, but also in my descending and overall riding abilities. Because that's the reality is the fitness tests I give you for the aerobic threshold and your functional threshold tests, those are really great for measuring your fitness, but that's just one part of mountain bike racing, and it's an important part. It's a really, really important part. But another crucial aspect is your ability to tie together a race course in an efficient and fast way. So having something like this, I think it should be, I don't recall exactly what my time was on that, but maybe anywhere, probably around 30 minutes. 30 minutes is probably a pretty good indicator, kind of like a 1 lap or a lap and a half, lap or two for how you're doing. And I think for those of you who don't have power meters or maybe you're having a hard time finding a consistent and good place to do your power test and you're not getting the results you would like, this way of testing can be a really effective tool to gauge progress in every aspect, because you can time yourself on the climb as well, see how that's going, time yourself on the descent, and then the full thing. And so the easiest way I have found is to go and do it and then make a Strava segment for it, and then you can just see your progress super easily forever, right? This can be something that you can go back and continue to do for years to come, and it can be a really effective tool to gauge where you're at. So a lot of you are starting to get to really good peak fitness at this time with nationals coming up around the corner. And for those of you who are focusing on NICA, that's coming up fairly soon as well. So you're starting to see more intensity in the calendar, sometimes more duration, more race focus. And this is just another really great way to simulate racing and preparation for that. Because at the end of the day, oftentimes, almost always, you race how you train. And so this can be another really good place to practice your race warm-up, your race nutrition, anything else that you want to experiment with. This is experiment with pacing, with really different ways of breathing, with descending technique. This gives you a space to work on that in a very controlled environment that's low consequence. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't go well, the only disadvantage is that you didn't see progress or as much progress as maybe you would have liked. The other thing, and I talked to you about this in the video that I sent you this week on Monday, is the objective. This can be another excellent way to set your objective. Perhaps you look at your time, maybe you do it once, and then you realize, okay, if I want to win collegiate national championships this fall, I think that my time needs to be this. And then it just gives you a really, really solid benchmark for every couple of weeks. I can set a new objective. Maybe my time trial is a 40-minute time trial. And maybe if I think I want to podium at collegiate nationals, I need to have a 35-minute time in this time trial. So I can break it down, and then next week I need to be able to do it in 39 minutes. And then in a month, 38, and then 37, 36, and finally 35 a couple weeks before nationals. So a couple of things I would recommend in criteria for determining your course. Probably the biggest thing, make sure it's something where wind doesn't affect it too dramatically. The reason why is because it'll be tricky to gauge real progress or understanding if wind can really determine how well you do. So because of this, I would choose something that's in trees, maybe steeper climbs, something where the wind isn't going to be as dramatic. So really anywhere in Corner Canyon is pretty good. It should be in mountain bike trails if you're doing mountain bike racing. If you're doing road racing, you can do it on a road. But again, there's like mountain bike trails are more consistent. It's less affected by the wind. And then again, you should have a climb and a descent. And I would recommend a descent that is difficult and challenging, something that can simulate a racetrack downhill. That was why I chose Jacob's Ladder on my descent, because it forced me to practice descending a difficult trail really fast while trying to go as fast as I can right after a really hard effort. So my heart rate's high, I'm fatigued, but then I still have to know how to go downhill as fast as possible while recovering a little bit if I can. So mountain bike trails, not super affected by wind, not super heavy traffic, or at least when you do it, not super heavy traffic. And that kind of goes into the next thing. Ideally do it at a similar time of day, because we all kind of go through different phases throughout the day where we'll feel stronger or less strong in the morning or evening or afternoon. So that's just another thing you can regulate. The more you can regulate, the better. And I would also do your race warm-up leading up to this every time. So that way you can get a full practice. When race day comes around, you're not doing anything new. It'll be super dialed. And in fact, I would even practice your full race routine at each of these. So this could be your pre-race breakfast, if you do any pre-race meditation, visualization, stretching, all that stuff, as if you're racing, you should do for these time trials. And again, if you do have a power meter and heart rate monitor, this is another excellent source we can use to gauge your fitness with your power and heart rate. But it'll just give us another tool. But I think that this is kind of more of a comprehensive grasp of where you are as an athlete. So again, you could probably do something like a Thunderdome lap could maybe be good if you're in the PG area. Maybe like an altar lap. Maybe you start at the mouth of Provo Canyon, and then at the the little park there, right up to the rock pile, up and over, and then down the Dry Creek Trail, and then across the BST. Anything that could simulate something like a race course. You could even do it at a race course if that's something that is easy to get to. Like maybe you live close to the Eagle Mountain race course and you could go do even just a lap on the Eagle Mountain race course. But I also want it to be fun. So if it's a race course, do a race course that you like and something that you can repeatedly do. And again, ideally this would also be something that you could ride for most of the year. At least not the whole year, but a lot of the year. So maybe not something super high elevation, something in the foothills. It could be I don't know what else is like. You could probably do it at Lambert Park. Lambert Park, you could do the Alpine Days race course where you go up Corkscrew, down one of the new flow trails, up Lambert Luge, up Spring, down Rodeo, down River. That's 20-25 minutes. That would be an excellent way to gauge fitness. You have 2 descents, really 3 descents, and a couple good climbs in there that can indicate a good overall indicator of performance. And again, it should have a mix of climbs. I would recommend a mix of dirt roads, fire roads, single track, flowy trails, technical trails. The more you can kind of mix in everything. Really, if you can, I'd probably just do the same thing I did, which is up Hogs, up Peak View, up Jacobs, down Jacobs, and then up to the top of Rush, the corral there, and then back up Peak View, down Peak View, or Porcupine, and then to the top of Octoon Baby. You can even go down Octoon Baby if you wanted to include that in it as well. Super great course. It's similar to what you do in racing, and it will indicate your performance really well. So I gave this to some of you as a workout for tomorrow, so this will explain that. If you have questions, please reach out to me. But I hope that this will be a more helpful approach, especially with you being in high school or a little younger, and having more of a fun test where you can even maybe get some Strava KOMs, TOMs, top 10s, PRs during the effort, and it will give you a place to experiment and practice that race scenario. So again, if you have any questions, you can comment below, text me, call me, whatever. Let's figure it out and get you something dialed so that this can. And I think this will be something we'll do still just every 4 weeks, like your test, but we'll do it this instead. Unless you love doing your FTP test and your aerobic threshold test on the trainer or on a road, that's fine. If you want to keep doing that, again, it is an effective tool. And there still will be times when we'll need to do that so we can set your training zones. But I think shifting to this could be more helpful for an overall engagement of fitness and just for having more fun while doing your test. So, yeah, I think that's everything. I can't really think of anything else that's important. So, hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.